Hey everyone and welcome to today's video. So in this one we're going to be doing another sort of YouTuber help guides for all of you creators out there who are just getting started and want to have an idea, I guess, how much you can expect to make once you're finally monetized. So we went into this kind of having some kind of, I guess, random expectations. We weren't really too sure how much our channel would make once we hit those 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watch time. So hopefully this video is going to help you with that. Also in this video we just want to cover off a couple of, I suppose, pitfalls and things that you don't really consider when you're working towards that monetization, because there's things that you should be doing before you're monetized through Google AdSense, and there's also some things that will happen to your channel which will negatively affect you, and I don't think enough people really talk about it. So we'll kind of go through that and our experience and what we saw once we hit that monetize button. So without further ado, let's get on with this video and we'll go through some of the stats, how much we made in the first month being monetized, and some of the negative effects it had on our channel once we hit that button. So let's get going. So I'll bring up the analytics on YouTube Studio here just to kind of give you an idea and an overview as well. So we've been monetized now for, I think it's about 2 months, maybe 2 and a bit months. We've had 1 entire month where we've been monetized. So that'll be the month that we have a look at, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. Now, we constantly see it in like Facebook groups and different YouTube support channels, a lot of tech and gaming channels, and in fact, a lot of channels just in general, really gunning for that 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watch time because they want to get monetized, which is natural. At the end of the day, you want to monetize your content because then you've got some money coming in which you can then reinvest back into your channel, so it does make a lot of sense. But honestly, I think a lot of people kind of have this really big grand idea of what that looks like, and it does vary so much from channel to channel and also from niche as well. So just to put it in perspective, the tech and gaming side of things is relatively low in comparison to something or a channel that talks about business or talks about money or it talks about growth in terms of like coaching. Those things are very different for a number of different reasons. So taking a look at our stats, the very first month that we had where we were completely monetized throughout it, so we got monetized in May, and I think we got monetized around about 12 days in when we finally got accepted. So June was the first full month where we were monetized from start through to finish, and in that month we made a whopping of £55.93. So let that sink in. Now if I go to give you an idea of what our views were, and that way you can decide and let us know in the comments whether or not you think that we earned more than what you expected we should have done, or if we earned less than what you expected we should have done. And I guess in comparison to what your own channel is currently doing at the moment in terms of views, is that more or is that less than what you're hoping to get? Okay, so views for June, so the total views was 25,516 views. So that 25,516 views translated into about £55 of ad revenue. So again, let us know in the comments, is that more or is that less than what you'd be expecting to do? Also as well, let us know how many views you're getting at the moment per month. And it'll just give us a bit of an idea for comparison and lets people kind of talk and share what they're getting at the moment in terms of views coming through to their channel. Now also, it's not just about views, because you can have somebody coming through to your channel that only watches 30 seconds of your video, and if you don't have much in terms of watch time, then ultimately your ads aren't going to be getting served to too many people. So the longer your videos, the more ads you can put into it. So once you start hitting 8 minutes as a minimum, you can start putting mid-roll ads into your videos as well, which means that if somebody does watch your video through from start to finish, they'll see more adverts, which makes that video more valuable to your audience. So our watch time for June was 1,219 hours. So again, let us know in the comments, is that more or is that less than you'd expecting? So based on 1,219 hours of watch time, are we earning more or less than what you'd expect to do? And are we earning more or less than what you were hoping you would get once you kind of got to this stage? So in terms of money coming in through ad revenue, it matches what we were making through affiliate schemes. So probably the biggest one that we use is Amazon affiliates, just because it's really easy and simple for us to use, especially since we do a lot of unboxings and a lot of reviews. So bear that in mind. If you're not currently monetized, you should be using affiliate links, or you should be using some kind of other monetization platform just to help you drive some revenue through to your channel. Now it's obviously up to you and depends how much you actually want to be monetized at the end of the day, but you can start earning money from your channel before you hit those 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hour watch times. And the easiest one for us was just Amazon affiliate links, just putting those in the description when we do an unboxing or a review, and people clicking on that link, we then get a bit of a cut if somebody goes off to buy that or something else on Amazon, and it matches that sort of £55 that we're earning through ad revenue. So it's nice that obviously our overall revenue has pretty much doubled, but again, it's a relatively small drop in the ocean at this stage. And to be honest, that's something that needs to be managed, those expectations, because as we got closer and closer to being monetized, in my head for some reason I had a much bigger figure in mind that we'd be earning for like that 26,000 views and 1,200 hours watch time, I thought we'd be earning a lot more than what we actually are. And there are reasons for that, and our earnings will increase over time depending on, I guess, the audience retention and stuff like that we get. But going into this, I thought we'd be earning a hell of a lot more. And there's probably a lot of you out there as well that are really gunning for those watch hours and subscriber count just so you're earning, but you're probably not going to be earning quite as much as you'd be hoping for at that very early stage once you hit that monetization button. Now, before we go on to the pitfalls of being monetized and some of the negative things that we saw happen to our channel, just want to touch on this bit here on the screen. So you have your RPM and your CPM. Now, the one that we look at the most is obviously RPM, because that basically means how much we're getting paid per 1,000 views. So if we look at that, our current average is £2.22. Now, this can vary massively depending on your niche and the topic that you're approaching and talking about. With us being a tech and gaming channel, when I've had a real good look into it, that's around about what you'd kind of expect. That number will most likely increase, so as we get more subscribers and more loyal followers who watch our videos from start through to finish, that number will slowly increase because obviously they're seeing more mid-roll ads, they're probably going to be more likely to sit through adverts as well. However, at the moment, because the mass amount of views that we're getting are from non-subscribers, obviously they're coming through to our channel, potentially clicking off when an ad's shown, or they're just not watching the whole thing because maybe our content isn't quite what they're looking for. However, that number could be much higher depending on the niche that you're in. So if you watch any other sort of like YouTube coaches or anyone else out there, a lot of the time when they talk about their RPM, they're talking like $10, which is massively more than we're earning. So again, bear in mind that depending on what niche you're in, that number could be very different. But that's why we're aiming this video more at you tech and gaming YouTubers, just to give you an idea of what you can expect once you hit that monetization button. So that's it in a nutshell. And again, let us know in the comments, is it more or is it less than what you would hope to earn once you hit that monetization stage? Now, moving on to some of the negatives of being monetized, and it's something that we didn't really consider before we hit that button, and something that we hadn't really seen talked about too much actually, and that is the effect on your audience retention. Now, what we saw is once we got monetized and we were able to put adverts into our video, our sort of average view rate dropped off by between 20 and 30%. And the main reason for this is because statistically, people are less likely to sit through an advert to watch your video, especially if they don't know you already or if you don't have that brand reputation. And think about your own viewing behaviors. If you see somebody who's, I guess, a relatively unknown YouTuber and you're kind of interested in their video, and then you click on it and the first thing you see is an advert that you then either have to sit through or you have to wait. A lot of the time, viewing behavior means that they just click off it and go to something else instead because they're just not that into your brand yet. So it's absolutely something just to bear in mind that once you hit those 1,000 subscribers and those 4,000 hours watch time, once you get monetized or once you start serving adverts on your channel, you probably will see a dip. And a lot of people talk about this, saying that YouTube starts to show your video to less people and that they're just not pushing it anymore because you've monetized, which doesn't really make any sense in our heads. But ultimately, the reason why is because of viewing behavior. They don't want to sit through an advert, and some people will just click off. It was a lot more than I expected. I kind of expected a few people would. And at one stage, once we started to see that massive dive in our traffic coming through to our channel and those views that were actually coming through, you know, we had to kind of have a sit-down conversation about whether or not we turned adverts off completely. Now, the reason we chose to keep serving adverts is because at the end of the day, we want to make this into a career and we really want to grow this channel. And to do that, we need money coming in so we can reinvest it. So every bit of money that we get goes back into improving the channel or buying product for us to unbox and review. And without that ad revenue coming through, ultimately we're just never going to be able to do that. So we knew eventually we would have to turn adverts on. So by turning it off now, just means that later down the line we've got to turn it back on and get our audience used to that, and it might put off some of those people who've subscribed to the channel through that time. So we just figured, leave it on now. It gets our audience into that condition where they know there are going to be ads on our channel. They can skip them, they can watch them, they can do whatever, but they're there and they're kind of just necessary evil to keep our channel going. However, once you do get to this stage, it's all down to your channel, your audience, and how much you want to grow, because ultimately you could keep adverts turned off until you've got more and more subscribers and you allow that view base to keep growing and growing and growing, and then turning on later down the line might make a difference to your growth and might help you to grow faster. Remember, at the end of the day, if you're losing 20 to 30% of those views that are coming through to your channel, that's ultimately going to have a slowdown effect on your growth. So again, do what's right for you. So just to give you an idea of what that actually looks like on screen, so we were monetized sort of partway through May, and as you can see, it's not the biggest dip in the world, but you can see that our views have been consistently growing from sort of the beginning of the year, and we were just kind of on an upward trend. It's a relatively slow upward trend from that point. However, once we hit May, things do then just dip. And there's this sort of curve here where there is ultimately a recovery going through into June. So we are on the growth again, but as soon as we hit that go live with monetization, there was a dip to our channel, and it seemed to be crashing at one stage where it was just like almost just something that we couldn't recover. However, we have persevered through it. We continued doing our regular content and everything that we've normally done in the past, which has helped us to grow. And thankfully, due to you guys, our audience, we are on the up and up again as well. So, like I said, it's just something to bear in mind and be wary of, because I don't really see it talked about that much. We figured we'd bring it to your attention in this video, so that way you know that once you hit that monetization button, if that's what you choose to do, ultimately you probably will see a downturn in those views coming through to your channel. And it can be really disheartening. It was for us, and it made us think, actually, have we destroyed our channel somehow? Have we done something wrong? But you just need to persevere through it, and ultimately you will see that growth again. So just bear it in mind. So hopefully that video has helped some of you out there, especially if you are new content creators and you're getting closer and closer to that monetization stage. It's not the be all and end all. It's not going to be the biggest amount of money ever coming through. You're not going to be able to just suddenly quit your day job unless you have a crazy high RPM, but you never know. So just bear that in mind and set your expectations accordingly. Also as well, it's worthwhile bearing in mind that you will see a decline in your views coming through to your channel once you hit that monetization button, because ultimately it's just people's behavior and it will cause it to drop. If you have any questions, make sure you throw them down in the comments below. And also as well, again, let us know, is that sort of RPM more or is it less than what you would be hoping for being a tech or a gaming YouTuber? Now, in the meantime, stay safe and we will see you soon. Bye.